You know, it takes a lot to change somebody. Like if you grew up a certain way, and there are things you learn, some things you honestly can't unlearn. Habits, nuances, speech patterns, even some things that make you angry. You can't stop. Even if you try really hard, you've been doing things that way for a long time. So how can something truly change you? Well, the thing is, typically events do. It could be traumatizing or even inspirational. Sometimes you change for the better, sometimes you change for the worse. With all that being said, today I'm here to talk about Kaido and how I feel like Oden changed Kaido forever. This is mainly speculative, because we don't know everything there is to know about Kaido, but this is also about Oden. In One Piece, you can deduce things, right? We get bits and pieces, and from there, we try to figure out what Oda is trying to tell us. With Kaido and Oden, it's a bit different. It's a weird relationship they have going on. For a while, we had no idea what Kaido's purpose was. Well, other than 795 when he first showed up, the inclination was that Kaido is suicidal. Yes, we got it. Kaido got captured numerous times, was defeated numerous times. Still, he wanted to die. But the thing is, with more context, with more information, it makes things a lot clearer. Not saying that I have the answer as far as definitively knowing why Kaido is different, but I think I have a good idea as to how Oden changed Kaido forever. So again, going back to Kaido and what we know, suicidal, been defeated a lot of times, and certain things that Kaido did. Like Oda told us small things that Kaido did, not small things, but he gave us bits and pieces of information of things that Kaido did. Went to Sky Island, he jumped off. Now in hindsight, knowing that Apu betrayed the Kid Alliance, you can look at things a bit differently, where Kaido, I think he killed two birds with one stone. Yeah, he fulfilled his thing, his niche of being suicidal and being this random crazy person, and he jumped off Sky Island, but he also inflicted a lot of fear in the hearts of not only Kid, but also Hawkins. Hawkins went on Kaido's side immediately, while Kid did take a step back when he initially met Kaido, but we know that Kid stood firm and he fought Kaido, ultimately lost, but Kid, he stands on his laurels. So that tells us something about Kaido. Yes, he is crazy, but he's also a man of action. We also know Kaido tried to go to Marineford, and we'll talk a bit more about that later, but how did Kaido change? Well, we have to go back to Oden's story. Oden left Wano with Whitebeard to discover meaning in his life. He lacked meaning. He knew he wanted to leave Wano. He didn't know what he was looking for, but he wanted to find something, find more meaning to his existence. And of course he found it, but during his absence, Kaido and Orochi, they took over. One thing that's clear about Kaido is that he wants to win, right? And winning doesn't have to be in fights. It means winning in life. Kaido moved in when Wano was vulnerable. Kaido used Orochi as a pawn, and you can argue that he still is. But I think there's something to be said about Kaido after Oden comes back. Because Oden comes back, he rushes to the castle, he meets Orochi. For a while, we were wondering like why Oden decided to dance throughout the country. Now we know Oden did it because he was saving 100 people for every dance. But then we also get information about Kaido and Oden's conversation, where Orochi was going to deliver some hostages and weapons to Kaido, and he said he was going to sell them into bondage, all this different stuff. But he kind of swindled Oden to dance by saying you can save them by doing X. But Kaido said himself that if Oden had challenged him back then, he's not sure if he would have won. And there's also more to Kaido's history because Kaido was a part of Rocks, and we know Rocks was defeated by Garp and Roger. So defeat is not something new to Kaido. It seemed like Kaido didn't care about anything, especially Oden, up until the final hour. He told Momonosuke that his father was a fool. He told Oden himself that he was a fool because of the route he took. There are a few buzzwords that people throw around: honor, legacy, pride. I think Kaido, there are a few things that resonate with him. I don't particularly think honor is one of them. I think it's more so pride and respect here. I think Kaido respects strength. I think Kaido is proud of his strength. But when did that pride manifest? Kaido gives me the barbaric feeling, like he wants a good time, a good fight, but at the end of the day, it does not trump the end goal. So while he may come off as this wild beast, he's also intelligent and he's also self-aware. So going back to the Oden versus Kaido war, when Kaido definitely had the numbers advantage, this is 5 years later, and the old hag tricked Oden and Kaido had the opportunity and he took it. Now Kaido, from what we know now, he killed the old hag. Why did he kill the old hag? One could say it's out of respect for Oden, whereas Kaido wanted a good fight, but that was lost because Oden was distracted, but that didn't stop Kaido from taking the opportunity. He does not let his nature and things that he holds dear outweigh the the end goal. But then how do you resolve that? You didn't get the fight you wanted, the old hag interrupted, you now killed her, and in the midst of all this is Oden. Kaido could have told Oden about the old hag before he got boiled, but Kaido didn't expect Oden to survive because Kaido at that point did not respect Oden. He thought Oden was a fool. Oden went away, country got taken over, came back, danced to save a few or saved several people, a lot of people, and then eventually got defeated by Kaido and put in a cage. Now he's sentenced to be boiled. That is not someone you show respect to because Kaido, I'm sure he's looking at it saying, well, this could have all been avoided if you had followed the nature and the things that we know about you. But I don't think Kaido knew that much about Oden. He just knew the rumors. And the rumors that were about Oden, they were not true. They just saw a different perspective. So the entire time Oden is boiling, Orochi's enjoying it. But over that time, Kaido developed some respect. Why? Again, the things that Kaido cares about. Strength and winning. Oden won the bet. Oden showed true strength. Kaido definitely admires those things. But one thing about Oden that Kaido really couldn't match was Oden's legacy and how he lived. But more importantly, how he died. Oden went out like that of a fairy tale. He went into a boiling pot of oil of over 700 degrees and continuously rising, in which him and his people were supposed to die. He puts them on a board and holds them up for the hour of legend. Then he throws them out, they escape, and Oden dies with a smile on his face. And this leads to the citizens of Wano cheering for Oden, crying, and leaving behind a brilliant legacy. But yeah, what does this have to do with Kaido? Well, before all this, again, Kaido then apologizes for what happened with the old hag, where now Oden had earned his respect, so he's gonna let him know that the woman that interfered with our fight, something that I care about, I disposed of her. But Oden took this time to mess with Kaido. So yeah, Kaido won the battle, but ultimately, I think he lost this war because the words of Oden, I think, is still resonating with him. He said to Kaido, how upright of you, and to build your strength while you can. For I am a story to accompany your drinks. I am Oden and I was born to boil. A bit of sarcasm, a jab to his strength. So for Kaido, he's getting this information. He's saying, what? Build my strength while I can? Is this a challenge? One thing Kaido could not ignore is that Oden was a legend. And the way he died, he became a legend and he died with a smile on his face. One thing was also said is Kaido wanted to know what Oden knew about the Void Century. We don't see Kaido asking Oden about this here. So one can assume after Oden's speech about the 800 years, in which Orochi was asking what he was talking about, where Kaido, he was listening. Is that why he hunted down Ashura-doji and Denjiro to figure out what was going on? What did Oden know? Because now Oden is intriguing. Now he wants to know more about this man called Oden. But more importantly, Kaido is developing not only a sense of honor, but there is something about how Oden lived and how Oden died flamboyantly. And I believe Kaido has been trying to adopt that way of life. See, before Oden, Kaido was just worried about winning, strength, and living life and enjoying it. I think after experiencing Oden, the words of Oden changed Kaido forever. But that's not the only thing. I think it's twofold. One, I think Kaido knows of the prophecy. I think Kaido knows there's a war to come 20 years after Oden's death. I think Kaido knows that he's going to be challenged 20 years after Oden's death. I think Kaido's goal to build up the world's greatest army is because he knew this war was coming. Kaido also knew Raizo was on Zou. Kaido also knew Momonosuke and Kinemon was in Dressrosa. Doflamingo knew their names. So Kaido at some point got the information that only the scabbards knew. So again, this ties into the traitor stuff. But the scary thing about information, it can have a lasting impact. Again, things can change you for better or for worse. With Kaido knowing this war was to come, him developing this army, he couldn't stop thinking about the way Oden died, and now he's trying to replicate that. He's trying to go out in the most flamboyant way possible. That's why Kaido commented about Whitebeard's death. He thought Whitebeard dying was something that he wanted to do, but the thing is, Whitebeard didn't only just die. Whitebeard had the greatest death one could think of. Holding off the world government, head split in half, but he also died standing up with no scars on his back. Whitebeard died like a man, a true warrior. And Kaido, after experiencing Oden, a legend in his own right, and knowing of the future, which again could be a good and a bad thing, it's altered Kaido's mind. Kaido's become obsessed with this to the point where I feel like he's developed an alcohol issue to manage these emotions. Again, dying, but also knowing that a reckoning was coming, because Oden at that point wasn't in an advantageous spot. He was in a pot of oil, but he still managed to tell Kaido in a very subtle way, I'm still stronger than you. And I believe in the samurai. Build your strength while you can, because I am a legend and you cannot compare to me. Extremely subtle, but those words resonated with Kaido. I think that was the major reason why Kaido is the way he is now. I think this is also the reason why Kaido joined forces with Big Mom, because he knew adding Big Mom to his forces, that's also going to add to the war. But could one say because of Oden, Kaido started developing some honor? One, Kaido went to meet Whitebeard at Marineford, but we know he was stopped by Shanks. Why was he going to Marineford? Was it to fight Whitebeard? Why was he stopped by Shanks? Did Shanks manage to talk him down? More than likely because I don't think they fought, but why would Kaido back down? Was it just liquor? Or did Kaido at this point respect someone going somewhere knowing they would die, which Oden did? We saw Oden could have had his swords and gone out that way, but he chose to go out saving his people. I saw a panel showing the scabbards holding up Oden, which is how it probably should be, where Oden is the person that should survive. But could any of the scabbards do what Oden did? No. So Oden sacrificed himself. Again, knowing as well what was to come with the protagonist of the future, it made it a bit easier, but he wanted to take out Kaido. And I think because of Oden and his beliefs and the things Kaido knows about the future as far as the war that's coming and all the different nuances that Orochi currently doesn't know, it's warped Kaido. I think Kaido is going to attempt to go out the way Whitebeard and Oden did. I believe he now admires that. One scenario as well as Kaido releasing Big Mom after she got there. Big Mom is certainly a threat to Kaido's operation, yet and still he told them to unhand her. This could be because he owes Big Mom, but it also could be because Kaido learned his lesson. Kaido may have changed. We felt like as a warrior, I feel like I am the strongest. I've gotten as strong as I can get. No one can defeat me at this point. So there's a bit of arrogance. Maybe the slight arrogance that Oden also had. Because something I'll never forget is when Oden told Toki, "You really don't remember the things I used to do. You don't know of my past." It's a lot, but this video was inspired by not only the chat and the comments, but also Anime Fan Talk. He had a great comment about Kaido and him developing a philosophy from Oden, and I mostly agree with it. I mostly agree with everything that he said. So Kaido's philosophy, I think it was altered by Oden and his actions, where Kaido at this point, again, he wants to die, but he wants to die flamboyantly. He wants to go out in a way comparable to those great men, Whitebeard and Oden. And I think in Wano, he will get his opportunity to. If Oda does have the balls to kill off Kaido, which I think he should probably do, Kaido will go out in a way that should rival those two. I don't think anyone will ever top Whitebeard. However, I'm pretty sure Kaido's gonna try. Do you think Oden impacted him? Let me know how you feel about it. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BroggoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BroggoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Guys, thank you again. Like and subscribe. I shall catch you guys in the next one. Peace.